Hello?
Hi, Sam.
Hey, Bridget, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Hey, thanks for just doing my podcast. Thanks for calling in.
Oh, sure.
Oh, man, I have been a great... I love your work on and off stage. And it's I'm actually kind of fanning out right now just talking to you, so...
Oh, that's hilarious. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, like I just caught your last show. Last time you were here in the area, you were at the Eyeball Fest.
Yeah, that was a fun night.
Oh, man, fun my ass. You crushed it. And then on top of that, it was weird seeing you more in a, like, crowd-type scenario. Usually, you're more of a cabaret, kind of closed area.
Yeah.
And you, like, exceeded my expectations mainly because I'm like, how would this work outside? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, you're not the only person to say that they were, like, wondering if it was going to work. And I was like, well, I'm just going to go for it. It feels like a natural fit because, like, some of those songs, like, I picture them in my head, even though I normally sing them in small clubs, I, like, picture them as, like, rock songs. So when I was singing them in those big venues, it was really exciting for me, and I was loving it.
Yeah, and obviously the crowd kind of, like, showed up to show you that we were loving it as well. Like, I gotta ask, you're, like, classically trained, right? Like a classical...
Yeah.
Because I saw a while ago, the Rock Bottom, your show.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, that last song, that I'll Take You Home, that was like something you see on Broadway. And then it's a head trip because, you just sung about your tits for a second, and then, like, I'm almost on the edge of crying.
Well, the thing is, like, if I'm going to do, like, a short set or something, or, like, if it's a comedy-style show, then I'm going to, like, pack in, like, the greatest hits, like, the funny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm doing a full show, like, certainly, like, an hour-and-a-half show like Rock Bottom is with a band, then, I like to mix in a couple tender moments and give it, like, because I sing all different kinds of styles of music, and you can only talk about tits for so long. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know about that. Hold on.
Other things to talk about. Well, that's a good point. I talk about them all the fucking time.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at. I was like, you're doing pretty good for yourself. Don't shortchange yourself. I mean, they're God-given. Use them, I guess. But I'm curious, how did you turn that into comedy? Like the classically trained part into, like, oh, let's make this funny.
I don't know. I just sort of stumbled into it. I moved to New York, and I wanted to be, like, on Broadway or sing opera. I was like, I quickly realized it wasn't going to be opera because of the discipline and, just to have, like, that clear tone, you can't really, like, drink and, it's really be fun. Or at least I can't because it shows in my voice. So I started going to see some shows in New York, like these downtown performers, some cabaret, some drag, and I was like, oh, my God, this is what I want to do. And everybody was really doing their own thing, but it had a very similar aesthetic, just kind of lawless and off the rails. And I was, like, always like that when I was little. Like, I had a foul mouth, and I was a good kid. I mean, I did well in school, but, like, I just always, like, had a dirty mind, and that was humor. So it's just sort of all slowly evolved into what it is now.
Okay.
But I'm glad that I have that training as a classical singer because then I can, it helps me stay vocally, in good condition when I'm doing some crazy shit.
Oh, okay. Well, you mentioned the tender moments with that. I gotta ask.
Yeah.
How did you get Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys into Tender Moments?
I was on a softball team. My friend Murray Hill, who's a great friend of mine in New York and a performer too. I was, like, really depressed, and Murray's like, you got to get out of the house and come play softball with us. And Adam runs a softball team, and so I joined that team, and we hit it off, and we were talking one day, and he's like, so what's going on with you? And I'm like, well, I'm starting a band. And he's like, well, and I was like, well, what? Like, he's like, you know, I'm a professional musician, and I was like, oh, are you saying you want to be in my cabaret band? And he was like, yeah. And you know, I think it started as a one-off, but you know, we just kept getting more and more shows, and yeah, he's been a critical part of my development. He's the one that encouraged me to write that song "Titties," and I'd have silly ideas, and he'd be like, "Oh, that's." I'd be like, this is dumb, and he's like, "No, it's hilarious. Like, let's do it."
Well, I mean, Ad Rock is telling you, the guy who made Brass Monkey is telling you to do something. Go ahead.
Well, it's true. It's funny because I'd worked with some people. Well, I'd worked with somebody before that I felt like sometimes thought my, you know, silly, you know, what one might call silly ideas were, you know, we had to like smart them up, you know, or make them like more intelligent. But like Adam was always like, no, silly's work for me. It's going to work great for you too.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool.
I'm curious. You said you played softball. I got to ask what position, because I played a little baseball myself.
Oh, nice. I played first base.
Oh, sweet. That means you were always on point. There you go. You got an athletic side to you too.
Good.
Oh man.
I've got height and I've got a good arm, but I prefer to I like to, you know, really dig for a catch. And yeah, our team is co-ed at like sort of all different levels of ability, but it's, you know, it's competitive too.
Okay, but yeah, you know, your first baseman is usually that you got to be on point with that.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of want to dig into your show a little bit more. I mean, for those who haven't seen it, I highly suggest it. You actually encourage a lot of audience participation. That is the lightest way I can say that. I don't want to offend, but at the same time, you do. I'm curious. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's you know, I consider the shows like a conversation, and you know, that means getting involved with the audience. You know, I go to shows and I like a presentational type of thing where somebody's up on stage, but I like it when the band or the comic or the singer gets involved with the audience. It's exciting for me because that's like where the element of the unknown comes, and I happen to like my whole show to feel that way. Mm-hmm. Unexpected. Number one, it keeps it fresh for me. Number two, it keeps it fresh for them. You can come back and see, you know, you could see the same show the same set 10 times with people. A lot of people in New York come back again and again and again, and it's different every time.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's exciting for me. I like it, and I think they like it. And, you know, it's almost always gone well. There's been a hiccup or two along the way, but nothing too crazy. People usually, they're going to a show to have an experience, and a lot of people want to step outside of themselves, and that's what I think my show encourages people to do.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a great show. Like I said, I highly recommend it.
Thank you.
I kind of want to jump off that a little bit. I understand you don't have a lot of time, but I want to talk about your acting a little bit more, because lately,
sure,
you're jumping into more acting roles. We all, for the most part, you got on like pretty much everyone's radar on a big scale with the Amy Schumer show.
Yeah.
But, you have had roles throughout, you know, like Sex and the City. You have shown up in Two Broke Girls. How upcoming? I think you got the Lady Dynamite. You're in that.
Yeah.
How are you adapting as far as being more of a, you know, actor?
It's been a challenge, but I think it's starting to really work itself out. It's, you know, because my stage persona is so larger than life. Mm-hmm. Like when you do like something from a camera, it's much smaller. But yeah, I think that almost every job that I get is like a friend giving me an offer because they like me and they know they know I'll be able to do it, you know. And so yeah, in the upcoming year, I'm going to be filming a lot of different things that are, you know, that are going to stretch me a lot. But I'm excited. That's what it's about. You got to take some chances, and you know, why not?
Okay. One thing I am fascinated with actors, when they have to play themselves, Like you were yourself in Difficult People. Does someone tell you, no, I don't think Bridget would do it that way, or Bridget would do it this, but it's you? How is that?
You know, when it's that kind of situation, I just ask them, like, well, how much of Bridget do you want? You know, I ask them, you want to go. And, you know, with the Difficult People, I know all those people, and, like, we're all friends, and they just let me do whatever I wanted. So that's great. You know, it's a cool experience to get to do it that way.
Yeah.
It's easy. You know, I know I can do it.
I would imagine that would be like either the easiest acting role or the hardest. There's no in between because you're you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Or like you may do something like, oh, I saw you do that thing that one time. Do that again. And you're like, what?
Yeah, right. But they know me that it's a little unpredictable, so they just let it be. Like, I'm like, well, you know, I'm just going to do me. And I'm like, great.
Okay, I understand you only got a little bit of time. I want to ask one more question. I'll let you on your way. I'm curious, how do you work on new songs? Like most, like, you know, stand-ups, they'll go up and they'll practice, or like at an open mic, or they'll try some stuff out. You kind of, is it a studio, with your things being so audience propelled, how would you work on a newer song?
Well, it used to be that when we were doing like a monthly show, and I would bring a new song in, and because it's, you know, I like the story to be as important as the song, and you know, in a full show, like their package, like the story that goes before the song and then the song. So usually if I write a song, it's coming out of like an experience, like something I experienced. But yeah, I've been in a little bit of a dry spell lately because my shows, you know, with the Tender Moments, like they're all part of my life, you know. And then I wrote Rock Bottom, which I don't really do on the road so much because it's a bigger show, but you know, it's a lot of content from my life. So right now I'm just trying to experience things and come up with something new. But you know, this morning I woke up at 4 and I had a song idea, and I just laid there in bed and sang into my voice memos. And I'm going to take a few days before I listen to it again because I'm like, you know, it feels like it's going to be a great idea. Then you hear it and you're like, oh. Yeah, I think I want every song to be as fun to sing as Titties, or not, you know, if that's one example. So sometimes I don't give a lot of songs a chance because I'm like, well, it's not going to be fun to sing. But I think in the coming months I'm going to just, you know, fuck it, I'm just going to start doing some things that'll probably stink up the stage, but you got to do it, you know.
Yeah, there's only one way you're going to find out, and quite honestly, like you said, in the future, you're going to have more experiences to draw from. So I would only imagine, you know, law of averages, something good is going to come out of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like your positivity. I'm gonna cling to that while I'm working on new material.
All right, hey, if you need help, man, I'm right here. You can just call me. I can tell you if it's a bad idea or not. I'm not really doing anything, so whatever.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Oh, well, Bridget, I understand you got to go, but thank you so much for calling in. I know it's been crazy the last couple of days. I just thank you for making the time for us. My pleasure. Thanks so much for chatting with me. We'll talk another time. All right. Hey, anytime you want, Bridget. All right. Thanks so much. Okay, thank you. All right, bye-bye. Bye.